Good morning. I am currently in my office and I wrote something the other day that I haven't seen since I wrote. And while I wrote this, I was gone. So I'm going to read it along to you, and we're both going to be seeing this at the same time. So here it goes. The stranger gathered the papers and spoke to an almost catatonic Rosemary as she stood on the path, watching him move about the bushes, blindingly following him down the moonlit lane. "I've lived all over," he spoke loudly as he strode along the path, occasionally whistling snatches of a familiar song. "Juneau, Alaska, Los Angeles, California, Spain, Guatemala, Chile, you name it. I've probably lived there." "What brings you to New York?" Rosemary asked, picking up the pace as the stranger's pace accelerated. It felt like a secret game they were playing, hunted and huntress, cops and robbers. "Business," he called out from somewhere beyond her, somewhere she could no longer see. Rosemary looked up, feeling as though the light of the moon was pressing down on her head. She began to feel very sleepy. The moon smiled at her like honey. His grin was so funny. Rosemary returned the grin, feeling her lips stretch far across, rosy with pain. The mouth of a clown whose smile was forced onto their face. She was funny, too. "Rosemary, stop." There he was again, standing directly before her, his gripping her shoulders. The tips of his fingers felt too dangerous, too sharp. She glanced at his hands, then up at him. "You're hurting me," Rosemary whimpered. "I'm sorry. You were not responding. I thought you went into shock," he said, releasing her at once. "Do you need me to take you to a hospital? You seem very shaken up." "No, please, I'm sorry. I've had a stressful night. I'm expected back at a certain hour, and when I'm late, well..." Rosemary stopped herself, realizing she'd been on the verge of blurting out her deepest, darkest secret. "You don't have to go back there, wherever that is, to whatever it is they do to you. You can stay with me." Rosemary gasped. Had she been that transparent? The stranger saw much in the brief interactions she had had with him. "How did you know?" "I see a beautiful woman walking alone in one of the most populated cities in the world, and a man wonders. This park is a dangerous place during the night, and a person might meet any sort of calamity." "Are you dangerous to me?" she whispered. "I don't mean to harm," which wasn't the same as saying he wouldn't harm her. And not just her, as he suggested. "I don't mean to harm anyone," is what the abruptness intended, and yet Rosemary sensed he always did. It was this distinction that drew Rosemary nearer instead of turning on her heels and running far away. This distinction that whispered to her, "Any man-made atrocities committed by me would be involuntary. If I cause you or anyone pain, it is not with malicious intent. It just happens. It just happens around me." Rosemary knew this feeling intimately, had studied it as carefully as a raven learning its given name, with the intention of examining one's own nature and what it is to be. For Rosemary echoed in this strange man's soul, she knew. From the moment when she peered into his face and sensed chaos churning within his eyes, they were alike, two silken butterfly wings working in tandem to give its body awesome flight. "What do you want with me?" she whispered, shivering as his face neared her own. "I want your body. Willingly." His warm breath was against her ear. She shuddered, a strange emotion growing in the pit of her belly, leaking down to her pussy. Wet, unadulterated desire. "I have only been with one man before. My husband," she whispered, regretting the words as soon as they were out of her mouth. Now he would apologize and move on, and I'll never know. "Your body doesn't belong to him. It is yours to give to whoever you see fit." Those words, spoken so passionately before her grateful ears, cheered Rosemary as nothing else had done before. This was the affirmation that Rosemary, as a lover of Christ but not a devotee to Catholicism, had needed from a man. She knew it was foolish to think in those terms, a woman needing a man to give permission to Rosemary for feeling a certain way, but habits were hard to break, as she had just learned. She let her lips brush his lightly, the warmth of his mouth sending shockwaves of pleasure from the tips of her nerves to the bottom of her spine. "I want to give myself to you," she whispered. The stranger took her hand once more and led Rosemary off the path. She was not afraid. This was her wedding night, she knew. This was the night that she was entitled to, a night of uncomplicated, unhurried passion and love. There were moments that seemed to stretch into infinity, her wet mouth around him, taking him into her, and looking up at his gloriously naked body as the light of the moon radiated above their heads. It gave the effect of a halo of light emanating from him. He grabbed Rosemary's hair in his leather-gloved hands and pulled lightly at the roots, the sensation causing her to wrinkle her mouth. He laughed and picked her up, setting her down on downy beds of grass. This part of the park was unfamiliar to her. Rosemary always kept on the numerous marked trails that crisscrossed Central Park, but she'd always been warned that it was dangerous to leave the path, that she could be hurt, strangled, robbed by a stranger, and so she never did. But Rosemary later realized that the only people that had ever hurt her were the people that she knew. And so she gave all of herself to that man, gave every bead of sweat that trickled out of her body like rain, gave him the whole of her desire, the radiating sweetness of it, like a mandarin slice on the tongue, its juice biting inside into the corners of your mouth. She kissed him, releasing every emotion that she'd held in her being, every anger, every painful memory that had scarred her, and gave it to the stranger. With the darkness of her soul came the light, a staggering blindness that left the city sheathed in white. A love as big as the universe flowered within her. She loved him, this wild man who sometimes looked like he was crying. He cried because of what he felt he had to do, something that was unintentionally hurting her, something that too would scar her. But Rosemary was prepared for this one, had at least anticipated what this kind of love could do to someone. It was a traffic accident, an old mine accidentally exploding, a lineman electrocuted by a wire, a man-made horror that was involuntary. She found she could live with that.